Alright, so once again, this is the first time I've seen this video. Oh, that's a play on Chicken Little. I'm not sure how many people are. Oh, and I got smart. This time I actually showed my build. This was my clever concept. I was going to try and reinforce my heavy melee, figure I'd just bypass my whole manifest issue. Sounds great in theory, but as I mentioned in the previous video, it doesn't work very well if you suck at melee characters, which I do. Didn't really get a glance at my loadout there. I think this is the one. No, I was using exploding rounds on this occasion, so I didn't have any kind of armor piercing or anything like that. I also don't think the explosive rounds accomplished anything. Assuming that was my own loadout, I saw that quite quickly. That might have been somebody else's loadout I was looking at. So this ends up turning into a sort of silver version of Thunderdome, but not really, because A, there's no hazard, and B, it's silver. So not really, no excuses for why this doesn't go well. We don't make it to the end, by the way. Spoiler alert, this is going to end in, I think, Wave 7. The entire thing would have been fine. It's fundamentally, the biggest problem it faces is that I didn't metagel at the opportune time in Wave 7. We'll see that happen. One metagel would have changed everything as soon as I put the remaining 3 players in the position of... well, Dragon Racer was put in under a lot of pressure because suddenly she went from 4 players to 2 players in the space of about 30 seconds. And on Glacier with collectors, even without a hazard, that can definitely mess you up. Remembering, of course, that we don't exactly have an abundance of consumables to work with here. I actually had Nightshade Blades this time, which I didn't have previously, and turned out to be a huge mistake. And voila! I actually managed to kill something in the first wave, and note, I did it with Nightshade Blades. Huge difference, you know, actually being able to kill things. I'm not 100% sure what I was checking there. That's my spectacular melee game. This is why I suck with melee characters, because it takes me 2 heavy melees to kill somebody. I can design the build so that the one heavy melee will kill them. I just can't manage to land it properly on the first try. Unless it's the Shadow, but that's because the Shadow's tracking is absolutely ridiculous. Like, I'd even go so far as to say that, you know, I don't consider the Shadow overpowered by any stretch. I don't think there's anybody who does. Except maybe people who really hate tactical. But if there's one thing about the Shadow that is overpowered, the tracking on its heavy melee is ridiculous and teaches some bad habits. I think one of the reasons why I suck with melee builds is because the Shadow is such an easy melee build to use, at least in the sense that I really don't think there is a heavy melee that has better tracking on the Shadow. It pretty much automatically hits anything that's 90 to 180 degree arc in front of you. And remarkably, you can take out lots of guys. This, by contrast, I think is specific to a single target. But, I mean, it has some advantages. There's some, it's probably a decently tracking heavy melee in the hands of somebody who's not a complete gimboid like I am. I'm still working on that Sky High achievement in PlayStation.
Squad member offline.
I think I was considering implementing a rule at one point. Oh, you rage gelled on me, Dragon Racer. Don't rage gel, come on. Nah, she's probably doing good stuff there, I think, if I remember correctly. I think I was starting out to say something there, but I've completely forgotten what it was.
Squad member offline.
I'm just whipping off that heavy melee and not hitting anything with it. At least I'm remembering to use my biotic focus a little bit more than I was in the previous game. People talk about the biotic focus somewhat, I guess a lot of people don't like it, but a lot of people love it. I'm in the camp of the people that love it. If I could have bumped it up to the point where it was giving me shields back, that's the one I would take. And I used to be, and still to an extent, I do love it, taking the speed bonus, and I'll often take the speed bonus with characters. That was that worst abomination ever. He basically walked right past me. He could have killed me, no problem. I see I made up for it by attacking with a bunch of stupid ways so that I took damage. We're supposed to be doing devices. Apparently I wasn't paying much attention. At the time of the game, that is. You know what? I don't think my voice is being drowned out nearly as much in these last couple of games because I'm not near where the action is happening. At least not most of the time. Oh, look at me. I can help now. Here, gonna help stuff, gonna help stuff. No, 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 you go, you go. No, I'm gonna do it. There we go. But yeah, I finally started to get my head around using biotic focus a bit more in this game, and I love biotic focus. I usually love melee, speed-based characters. I'll usually take speed-based evolution as much as I can, especially on something like a Duality of Shadow, where there's advantages, just defensive advantages to capitalizing on additional speed. But in the case of the Cabal, I've started to flip that theory just a little bit. As much as I enjoy having a lot of speed, in the case of the Cabal, I think the damage reduction biotic focus served me a lot better in this game. And then the barrier restore of the whoops. I'm not so good with teleporting characters. I'm still learning how to dodge with those. So every time I dodge, I kind of have to figure out where I am again. So yeah, I like the more the DR and then the barrier restoration on the biotic focus for me these days. I actually prefer that. I find it a little bit more helpful getting over my failings with this particular kit or melee kits in general. I think in the next game I start to sort Poison Strike out a little bit. I've never had much success using Poison Strike, except in the very first game I played, where for some reason Poison Strike was doing a really good job with only 1 or 2 hits. Probably had to do with the build I was using at the time. I wouldn't even remember what I had. I must have had it set up for power damage. But it was working remarkably well, and then I tried it a bunch of other times. But yeah, some tips from Dragon Racer. No, she didn't try and trick me while I was improved my sense of timing with it. And I had no idea it didn't do damage past the first 7.5 meters. Yeah, these one-on-one battles with Marauders and Collectors just as death. I don't do such a good job of handling these guys who their melee is faster than mine typically, so their reaction time is faster. Anyway. Whenever I'm standing right in front of one, if I don't go down, that was one-on-one battle shield. You can see that I have to figure out where I am. I teleported and I'm just not used to that. So it took me a second to orient myself and figure out where I was. Not really a good thing to be doing when you're in the middle of a game. But then again, the beauty of this being silver is that it allows you to make absurd numbers of mistakes like that without necessarily losing the whole kit and caboodle in the process. Actually, looking at this, I'm really starting to feel like the whole reason we failed here is because I didn't use the Metagel the one chance that I got. We appear to be doing fine as far as I can see. Our pugs were good. We were certainly successful in our next 2 games. There was no reason for us to die if I hadn't been, you know, so unwilling to use my resources. That would probably have been a well-timed rocket if I decided to. I don't have AP, of course, which makes shooting at that scenery completely pointless. But you forget these things when you play the guns that have the mods on. And I think the only mod I have on is the recoil damper mod for the level 1 recoil damper mod for the assault rifle. It's basically the only thing you've got explosive. And you can imagine the explosive ammo does basically nothing to the collector. Which it does. I mean, collectors have so much health that explosive ammo is basically a write-off. But we were doing random, so I had no idea. That's one of those fun scenarios where you try hitting the button instead of grabbing the guy, you jump out of cover. That's all. Plus 10 for the assist. I'm good. I'm not even sure what I could have done that would have been worth exactly 10 experience for that. I guess I looked at him funny before he died and made him feel bad, and that was worth 10 points for an assist. Ah, look at my mighty grab skills. And my mighty aiming skills with heavy melee. Oh, is this the one? Yeah, I think this is the one. I think this might be the one that costs us the whole kit and caboodle right here. All I had to do was metal gel. Nope, it's not this one. It'll happen in a second. That's my favorite, by the way. There's nothing quite as thrilling as using a metagel or being revived, and then the very next thing that happens is there's an entire sea of grenades around you that are going to go off the character. Man, that's fun. There's me thinking with teleports, or just teleporting without thinking. One of the two. Oh, killed someone. Every now and then I do. And it isn't even by accident either. You know, like my headshots. No, I'm like the only person who actually goes for headshots instead of I can get it on silver, no problem. Because they move like they're in molasses on silver. He said in the middle of commentating on a video when he was playing silver where he did a headshot. Because there's nothing quite so thrilling like contradicting yourself in the middle of a video. There you go, putting into practice what I've learned. I really wanted to finish him off, but I didn't.
Enemy down to 50% strength. Enemy data siphons operational.
Oh, this is the wave 6. Okay, so yeah, we still have another wave to go before the badness happens. So at this point, because I'm essentially kiting, I preferably don't want to kill anybody. But as always, a grab is a grab. You never pass up the grab, even if it's an objective wave. It's like a blanket exception to the scoreboarding. You're always allowed to scoreboard with grabs. So you can see Dragon Racer doing exactly what she's supposed to right there. She's just kiting that guy. She's not trying to kill droves of guys, just making sure that their attention is diverted from me. And I'm about to try and do the same thing. The objective here is not... Whoops! I was about to try and do the same thing. There we go. This is the screw up right here, isn't it?
Device disabled.
I'm convinced every time I go down that this is the one that costs us everything, but I actually think it kinda is. Nope, still not yet. I could have looked at the time code and told myself that. So far we're still doing well. Or rather, they're still doing well. And I'm not doing so badly. Oh, here we go. In the movie again. Look at me putting stuff into practice. My few moments of brilliance will be brought to your attention. Because they are few and far between. Actually use Nightshade Blade there. Probably should have been doing that the whole time. Still have not managed a melee kill against the Scion, which I really wanted to do before the end of the game, which was probably not a smart thing. I have no idea what kill feed to try and find out. Oh, do I get one? What? He's alive? This Scion's getting us from all angles.
Enemy is regrouping.
At least he had a good time before he died.
Enemy force
What is a
approaching.
Scion?
Acknowledge! Hostile!
I know a Praetorian's made out of husks. What's a Scion made out of? Made out of a suicide. That's what it's made out of. If you haven't played Dead Island, that was By this point, choosing JDR was officially giving us the warm fuzzies. Warm fuzzies playing with him, so neither Dragon Racer or I were willing to let him go down without a fight. He stuck with us for 3 games. I believe he stuck with us for another game after this. We weren't going to let him die without a fight. He saw both of us rush over to try and save him there. Didn't manage to pull it off. Oh, which tells me right now, that's where the trouble starts. Now I can tell we're down to 3 players, so if the situation is going to get bad, this is where it is. And I believe I'm about to go down right here. That's why I thought yeah, this is the downing right here. Remember, it happens right in the middle of this little section. And again, it was a one-on-one confrontation with a collector captain, me being brilliant. Now all I have to do here is use a Metagel. I've got 2 of them. This guy's about to stop me. I know it's going to happen. And I make a judgment call, and the judgment call was stupid because I already knew we had 1 person down, and this is, you know, it's not like we have a ton of consumables. Right there, what I should have done was just pop myself back up, keep going, worst comes to worst, I'm down a Metagel. We could have worked around it. But I didn't, and so now we're down to 2 people, and that puts us in a very dangerous situation, because Dragon Racer can carry stuff, but let's not forget, she's working with virgin manifest here, so she really doesn't have a whole lot of stuff she can fall back on. And she was, at this point, bless her heart, trying to convince the pug who was using that rifle there. She was trying to convince him to relocate to a slightly safer position, and it didn't work. And the two of them ended up getting caught in this little crossfire here. And yeah, it doesn't end up going well. Credit where credit is due, the guy obviously knew that Dragon Racer was the one to keep alive. And I was telling him that too, as he was fighting. I was sort of yelling into him, not yelling, but I was basically saying, make a priority of getting Dragon Racer back up. You're going to need her. She has no medical. And he listened, so that was good. And he did make an effort to try and keep her on her feet, because she definitely was the key to pulling this off if we were going to do it. But we didn't. And yeah, I know exactly what happened there. It was the same thing that happened to me a bunch of times. She teleported and didn't know where she was, and by the time she oriented herself, somebody killed her. And then, and hey, he was brave. He didn't really know how to do a high combat revive, so he didn't pull it off. But he made an effort, and so, you know, good on him. He tried, and this is, you know, his difficulty. He was trying to do this under normal challenge circumstances. He was in the right zone for his level of skill and everything. Good pug. No reason to blame him. He did his best. That was mostly my fault. It was kind of fun. Ultimately didn't go well. There was a lot of laughter happening during that. We were drinking while we did this. That helped soften the pain. Also, I was at no point in time above letting Dragon Racer do all the work, clearly. As I've said, I have no qualms whatsoever about being carried by my friends. I've frequently informed them that they'll be carrying me, for various reasons. Sometimes just because I don't feel like trying. No, I'm kidding. I don't not try. Our next chapter goes considerably better, in the sense that we don't wipe on Wave 7. On Silver. So how did I do here? Well, I wasn't last. Which doesn't really mean anything. Oh, I remember that. Stopped just short of level 12. That one extra bonus. I think you might even get to see... Yep, here we go. So what did I do? What decision did I make? Yeah, this was kind of a no-brainer. No, it wasn't a no-brainer, actually. I debated this. Normally, I'd go for the speed bonus, but I figured, well, I'll go for the DR. And I think that was the right call. Oh, yes. And being 50 credits or whatever it is, 52 credits short of actually being able to buy a veteran pack. At which point, Dragon Racer said she was going to save hers up. I probably should have done the same thing. And I was like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and buy a couple of recruit packs. I don't remember what I was thinking, but I figured I might get a good weapon mod, like maybe something I could stick on either an assault rifle or something like that. Plus, I got a cyclonic modulator out of it, which probably didn't hurt too. I really should probably trim these down just a tad. Warp rounds seemed like it made sense to me at the time because I figured they would add to the damage from Poison Strike and Nightshade Blades. I don't happen to remember how that turned out. But I started to sort out Poison Strike in the next game. There was some distinct improvement in my performance. I think I pretty much exclusively used heavy melee in my gun during these previous two games. And in the next one, I actually get my act together somewhat and start to do a little bit better.